Bonjour. Before we start this episode, I want to give you a word of warning. Everything I'm going to say today is common sense. I can't promise you any kind of aha moment. I'm not even going to claim that I'll be even remotely insightful, okay? I know, I'm sorry. So why am I choosing to talk about today's topic? Well, sometimes the most obvious things are the things we forget about, but those very things are also really important. So if you're afraid of speaking French, please bear with me as I explain this rather basic idea. Take the time to let it sink in, because the one question I'm about to ask you can actually completely transform the way you experience and learn French and will help you reach your language goal much more quickly and with much more confidence. And that's what it's all about, really. So let's get started. Welcome to Quirky French Podcast, the podcast that helps you speak more confidently, feel more focused, and be more in control of your French learning journey. Prêt? C'est parti! Salut, welcome to episode 27 of Quirky French Podcast, the podcast that helps you find your voice and overcome your fear of speaking French. I'm your coach Naima from QuirkyFrench.com, and today I have a simple question for you. Do you know what you're good at? I'm sure you can easily come up with stuff you're really bad at in French, but can you objectively talk about what you're good at too? You have to listen to today's episode if you can't answer this question or you don't know how to identify your strengths. You're not quite sure how answering it will help you get over your fear of speaking. But more than anything else, I'm specifically talking to you today if you're scared of speaking French, if you've tried tons of different things but can't see the end of it, and you don't seem to notice any change in your French or confidence, no matter how hard you try. Everyone across the board, no matter how good their French is or how many years of study they've had, wants to answer the ultimate question. How do I improve? How do I get better at French? So people do what? They look at their weakest areas and they focus on that. They put time and energy on getting better, on becoming quote unquote less bad at it. But I'm going to share some hard truth. I'm going to appeler un chat un chat. That's the little quirky phrase of the day. Appeler un chat, calling a cat. In other words, calling a spade a spade. Here's the thing. If you focus on your weaknesses, you're going to go down a never-ending rabbit hole. No one is ever good at everything. So not only is it unrealistic to focus on your weaknesses, but it's also pointless. It just doesn't work. Il faut appeler un chat un chat. Yet, that's what most of us do. That is why you'll find tons of YouTube videos titled How to Get Over Your Fear of Speaking French, How to Overcome Your Fear of Foreign Language Speaking. Most nervous learners watch this kind of content because they're trying to become less nervous. And if you're listening to today's podcast, chances are you're hoping to achieve the exact same thing. But how about you focus on your strengths? When you focus on what you're, again, quote unquote, good at, the negative stuff will fade away. So today, I really want to help you become a more confident speaker and a better learner by simply doing more of what you already do well. We focus so much energy on the negative stuff all the time that we sometimes forget or undervalue what we do well. This is actually normal. We're wired to focus on the negative, so I get it and I do it as well. But learning to identify your strengths and focus on them will be the turning point in helping you reach your language goal. So today I'm going to show you how to uncover and how to focus on your strength to become more confident in French. Right, so perhaps you're now wondering, are you implying that I should completely ignore my weaknesses? No, that's not what I'm saying. But what you'll find is that when you focus on your strengths, everything else falls into place much more easily. Let's have a look at the following examples. In episode 2, Let's Dive In and Talk Fear, I introduced the idea that when you embark on this journey of overcoming your fear of speaking French, you learn that having that fear doesn't really matter in the first place because you can improve your French and still experience a certain level of fear. You can improve your confidence and still experience nerves. So focus on building up your strength, building up your conversation skills, instead of focusing on eliminating your fear. You don't need to have no fear to be incredible at French. You can feel both the fear and the confidence. How about that? When you learn to accept the fear instead of trying to avoid it at all costs, you're focusing on your strengths, not your weaknesses. In fact, confidence has nothing to do with you being good at French in the first place. If anything, confidence is all about embracing uncertainty, embracing the fact that you don't know everything, that your French isn't perfect, but that you're still going for it. And I explore this topic in episode 3, Step into Your Confidence, and explain how your French will improve precisely because you're choosing to step out of your comfort zone. You're doing something you might not be really good at, and you're learning to be okay with feeling scared, with being without control and being unprepared. And when you nurture your confidence, regardless of your level of competence, you're focusing on your strength, not your weakness. In another episode, in episode 5, Your Own Path to Fluency, I show you how to create your own definition of fluency and how to get there in your own terms, in a way that is you, that fits your skills and goals. And I explain the difference between fluency, speaking fast, accuracy, speaking well, and complexity, speaking in a sophisticated way. Research shows that when you're building up your speaking skills, you'll usually develop one element at the expense of the other two. You can develop fluency, learn to get your point across, fairly quickly, but usually you'll make a few mistakes here and there, your accent might not be perfect, and to get your point across efficiently, you'll probably favor basic sentences over intricate words and grammar. Same goes for accuracy. Let's say you want to speak accurately, so you'll probably slow right down so that you have more time to process your thoughts, organize the sentences, and monitor the quality of your language. And you're more likely to be accurate if, again, you favor language that you're pretty confident about, so you probably won't be using overly complex sentence structures, right? So you get the idea. And instead of feeling bad about the areas that you're not good at or that you're not developing, just go all in on the one area you're good at. This is how your French will take off. But trying to do everything at once, using fancy vocabulary and grammar, speaking quickly, all without making mistakes, will just get you to stall. And when you embrace that natural imbalance instead and focus on one area, you're focusing on your strength, not your weakness. If you're scared of speaking and if you haven't listened to episodes 2, 3, and 5, I highly recommend that you have a listen afterwards because those episodes will help you redefine your learning journey in a constructive way and in a way that aligns with and nurtures your strengths rather than your weaknesses. So now let me ask you again, do you know what you're good at? So far, I've given you a few examples of things you can do to nurture and build up your strength as a learner, but you have your own unique strengths anyway. What are they? What are your signature strengths? What are your little quirks that make you unique? Do you know that using your quirks, your unique strengths, is what will help you reach your language goal? So here are some questions for you. When you answer those questions, just be aware that there is no right or wrong answer. No answer is more valuable or smarter than another. 1. What can you do easily? Remember, no right or wrong answer. It could be anything, your pronunciation, your verb, tenses, your study routine, anything. Make a list of everything that comes to mind. 2. What energizes you? What activities make you feel excited and happy? Again, brainstorm freely and list everything. 3. What have you accomplished so far in your learning journey? Think back and list the moments that you're proud about, the milestones and the baby steps, because everything counts. And to take this practice a step further, here's my quirky tip of the day. Each time you review an activity or reflect on your learning, name 2 things you were good at. If you can't think of an answer, change the wording to 2 things that went well, okay? Next, ask yourself, how can I expand on those 2 things? What can I do even more of? How can I be even better next time? If you do this every time you practice or every time you have a conversation in French, a few things will happen. So first of all, you'll start to notice some patterns, and as you uncover your signature strengths, you'll also discover your sweet spot, that place where you can learn a lot, you feel confident and satisfied of yourself, and you progress at your highest rate. Also, your strengths will become your North Star when you learn. Because your learning will be based on stacking up your strengths, you'll find that your insecurities won't take up that much space anymore. You'll naturally develop other language skills much more easily, but it will be kind of like a side effect of this strength building practice. Et voilà. I told you, it's all common sense. I don't have a miracle recipe or little hack to offer you. I'm just saying it like it is. J'ai juste appelé un chat un chat. So go ahead, stop trying to fix what's wrong. There's nothing wrong with you, nothing wrong with your French. Instead, appreciate and ignite your strengths and just go all in on them. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to share it with another learner if you think they could benefit from it. And it would also help spread the word about this rather basic yet crucial idea, and it would help the podcast grow too. So, merci beaucoup. C'est tout pour aujourd'hui. That's all I've got for today. Have a wonderful week. I'll catch up with you in 7 days for another episode of Quirky French Podcast. And as always, in the meantime, keep learning, keep growing, and keep it quirky. Merci encore et à la semaine prochaine. Salut, salut. Bye bye.